Marriage is like slavery. Stay off the plantation. When it comes to marriage, you're signing a legal contract with the state and the government, which has ramifications for you going forward. So, when it comes to raising a family, you can raise a family without getting married. You can be a good father. You can be a good provider without actually getting married. You can be a good family man, taking care of a woman, taking care of the kids. You don't need to sign a legal contract that's putting you on a plantation. And that's kind of what marriage is when you really look at it, because the guy is always going to be on the wheel. She has that legal binding contract where she can have like a no consequence divorce, so he's always on the wheel. And there's so many factors involved, like her biology doesn't shut off. She's going to be attracted to other guys. What if your job lays you off and now you're in a different position? So now she's looking at your status differently, and then you're on a business trip or you're at work, and then the pool guy comes over to clean the pool. I mean, there's so many different things that can happen when it comes to marriage. I mean, if you owned like a private island or something in like the middle of nowhere, and you took like a wife to that private island, and there's nobody but the two of you, and she can't escape, like there's no boat or anything, like no cell phones, no electronics, no contact with the outside world, that's how you know for sure that that's gonna work, because like you're the only two there. But you have other people around you, other forces, like you're always at the mercy of your job or like the government or other people. There's just so much up in the air that even though you sign like a legally binding contract, it doesn't mean that you're having like this faithful monogamous relationship. It doesn't mean that someone won't change their mind or find somebody better or get bored of you or find someone with more money or they're more attracted to. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to getting married. It's really kind of like slavery, to be honest with you. It's looking at what happens to a lot of men in court and divorce, and some of the sad stories you hear with that. You're just kind of like a pack mule, just constantly working to provide her resources, and just on the plantation, you're just working the plantation. And when it comes to marriage, I'm not saying completely to just like don't talk to women or don't have a relationship with women. Obviously, if we want to raise kids in a society, there needs to be some sort of structure. I mean, if you make the decision to have a kid, you should do so with the intention of taking care of that kid. Now, things happen here and there, both on the man's side and the woman's side, why certain families are broken and people grow up with single parents. Myself, I grew up with a single mom, but it's not like my dad's fault or my mom's fault or my dad's family's fault, my mom's family's fault. It's just a mix of everybody's part in it. But there's a lot of ways, not that don't have to do with marriage. There's a lot of ways to make a family structure work. There's a lot of things you can do to raise a kid correctly and to have a structured society without signing the legal contract of marriage. That's what it is. It's just really a legal contract. Like I mentioned in a previous video, you can just tell someone right now, like I could go on the street and find a girl and just say, hey, we're married. She says, yep, because it's an idea. It's in your mind. Just because like a priest does it or the government does it, it doesn't like add anything to what the two of you have going on between each other. And even now, selling tie-dye for this nonprofit in San Diego, I sell here in La Jolla, Pacific Beach, the San Diego Zoo in downtown San Diego. I have women from all over the world all the time that come up and buy tie-dye shirts and dresses, long sleeves, hoodies, just whatever. And I hear this a lot where a woman will come up to the stand. I'm at the beach or something, and she like doesn't have her wallet on her, and she says, let me go get my wallet. And she comes back with the husband or the boyfriend, and he pulls out his wallet and he pays. I've heard those exact words on so many occasions, it's not even funny, like the exact words of let me go get my wallet. Even the other day, I was selling here, and this woman, she's like, oh, I don't have any money on me. And then she calls over her boyfriend. She's like, oh, well, I can always use his. And she kind of laughs. And he comes up and he says, what am I, just like a wallet to you? She says, no, you're more than that. Gives like the sarcastic pat, and they have their moment or whatever. She buys a shirt, and then they go off holding hands. But it's kind of like a comedian. Like you say a joke in a certain way that kind of softens the blow of truth. So she's just like, no, you're more than me than just a wallet. But she still said it, even though it's kind of a joke. But is it really a joke? Like what's the line between a joke and truth? So it's just super funny. So like I have a good time. Like people ask me all the time, like, do you ever think about getting married? And not really. I mean, especially with the certain end of the spectrum I've seen it from. I mean, I'm here selling tie-dye. Like, why would I go get married when, like, a woman from a different part of the world will come here to San Diego and willingly hand me $20 for a tie-dye shirt. I bet women all the time, they say, this is awesome, keep doing what you're doing, like, keep it up. And so it's just like, why not keep it up? Why not just keep making money? Like, the women support it. And even to women that are married that I meet here selling tie-dye, I meet women that are married and or have boyfriends at home, and they don't care. They don't think about it. It's just like, it doesn't mean that she's faithful, or like that's gonna work out, or like this guy back at home, like it doesn't mean that he's like aware of what she's doing. I mean, this happens all the time. I mean, she'll come up, or she'll mention something about like, oh, like you have nice eyes, or my husband isn't as open-minded as you, or as friendly as you, or she'll make some comment like that, or whether I get her number, or whether we hang out after. Most of the time, I don't really like ask like, do you have a boyfriend, do you have a husband, and just you think you're hitting it off with her and you're meeting someone cool, but then you find out later that she's taken or whatever. But then it's like, ugh, do I want to deal with any of that? And then when it comes to myself, what does that mean if I want to get married? Is that going to happen to me? So you got to take caution with all this stuff. I mean, it's just super funny. I mean, just like selling here, the tie-dye here just all the time, just sometimes there'll be like a therapy session here with like women at the table talking about their husband back home, or just like what's going on in their life, or like they're on vacation in San Diego and it's like they're their week or whatever away from what they're doing back at home. So they're just like enjoying the beach and they're just kind of in the moment. So you just get to see things for what they are. It's kind of funny doing this job because it's super laid back, it's super casual. I'm just selling tie-dye clothing. So like you're just talking to people that are usually on vacation and they're just chilling. They don't have like the corporate facade to put on, or like the image of what job or of perception they have to maintain. So you're just talking to people as people. It's a very easy transaction. They either want a tie-dye shirt or they don't. It's no like bureaucracy. It's not like a hard pitch. They either want it or they don't buy it, and they come up and have a conversation about whatever. So I've definitely seen a lot of that, whether it's like women that are in high school, or old women like 60, 70. You can see a lot of these same patterns. It doesn't really matter how old she is, or race, or what state she's from, what she does for work. I mean, there's a lot of things about just female nature that's just very common that you just pick up on. It regardless of like the individual herself, there's a lot of commonalities with female nature. And it's just funny, just with something like this, being out here, just the comments I get, and just things I notice. And like the guy will bring his wife or his girlfriend on vacation here to San Diego, and this might be their 1 week or 2 weeks away from the work grind, wherever they're from, back home, and they come here. And so he's been working his whole year, and he's been making all this money, providing her like resources and assets, giving her money, sustaining her life and funding her lifestyle. And they come here to San Diego for like the 1 week that they have vacation, as a couple, as a loving married couple, or boyfriend, girlfriend. And she comes up to the table and immediately says, "Oh my God, you have like amazing green eyes, and like you're so handsome." And just like he's like standing right there, and just like, like he really wants to hear that, like the girl that he's married to, this is like their vacation together. Like he's really trying to hear that. It's just like, it's super funny. It's like, I get it. Like you're going to think what you're going to think, or you're going to have those thoughts, but to just be so like blunt about it is just hilarious. And then from my end of the spectrum, it doesn't like motivate me to have my own wife. I mean, before I sold tie-dye here for this nonprofit, I used to work at a hotel across the street from here in La Jolla Cove. And same thing with hospitality. You meet people from all over the world, and same kind of things happen where I had one woman once that was from Russia, and she came with her husband 1 year. And she came again the next year, and she came alone. And then I was just talking to her, and she's just like, "Oh, like my husband died a few months ago." Just like, I was like, "Oh shit, like that's not good news, you know?" And then she's like, "Well, I don't have any transportation here this time around. Could you maybe give me a ride around San Diego if I need to go somewhere?" And I was just like, I'm thinking like, okay, well, one, like even if I do take you somewhere in San Diego, it's not a good look as a hotel employee to just like leave with a guest. This is like a high-end hotel I'm working at, and it's just like, I can imagine my boss, even though like me and my boss are cool with each other, but it's just like, I can imagine him like seeing me leaving with a guest. It's just like, like, where are you going? "Oh, I'm just taking this guest like out to San Diego." It's like, no, that's just like, And she's not even thinking from my end. And then I'm walking around the hotel that day, and then I see her getting something out of the trunk of a car. Like she had the keys and she opened the trunk of a car. I'm like, wait a second. She just told me a few hours ago in her room, I was bringing her like room service or something, but she told me that she doesn't have transportation, she needed a ride. And so I'm thinking about this, what she's been telling me. I'm like, did her husband really die? Like this Russian woman's telling me that her husband died. Am I just, if I give her a ride around San Diego, is it gonna be like in the movie Jumanji, where just like he's like standing there and he sees like the bullets like flying past him, like Van Pelt's trying to kill him. I just like this, you just see my face on like a big like blown up screen, like there's like some Russian guy with like, he's like throwing darts. It's just like my face, like an X through it or something. And like I'm on his hit list now because I'm just like out with his wife in San Diego. She told me he died and I'm supposed to believe that. But like, you know, you don't want to assume that if that's true, because that's kind of deep if you're just assuming that something's false when someone actually did die. But then she told me that that she needed a ride and she didn't have transportation. I see her getting something out of the trunk of a car. I'm like, okay, so you do have transportation. You do have a ride. This is very interesting. I don't know what to believe. So I'm just gonna decline the offer respectfully and go back to my job working at this hotel where I'm just trying to pay my bills, make my money, not have extra drama, and just go home and sleep. I don't need all of this. And so, I mean, this like husband-wife stuff is just, it's crazy. And then another time at the hotel, I'm serving breakfast, and this woman comes in, this blonde woman, and immediately she sees me, and she just goes, oh my God, like you have like amazing green eyes, you have like such tan skin, you have like the perfect nose, you have amazing teeth. She kept going over like my facial features just like right away, like didn't even know her name, just like the second I met her. But I'm respectful of it. I'm not the kind of person that's just like, oh, please, like I hear that all the time. I'm like, thanks. Like it's good to hear a compliment, you know? I'm myself. I'm chilling and I'm talking to her. She's a cool woman. She's like in her like late 40s or 50s or something, and I was having a good time. But then later that day, her and her husband are sitting out at the courtyard, and I go up to them, and I was only talking to her the first time because she was the only one in the breakfast room earlier that morning, and she says, honey, this is the model I was talking about. And then like the way he looks at me, and then like I go to shake his hand, it's the most awkward handshake I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm thinking like, there's so many other things you could have said. Like you could have said, oh, this is Mason, or this is the breakfast server, something that's actually relevant to this guy. Like the model, like you're on vacation with your husband and you're like, oh, here's the model I was talking about. Like, yeah, he's gonna really take that well. So the whole vacation, this guy just like hates me the whole time. I didn't even do anything. All I did was exist. My mom and dad fucked. My mom happens to be white. My dad happens to be black. I happen to be born mixed. I grew up, I happened to be working this hotel job, happened to be serving breakfast, trying to just pay my bills, and then her comment like causes this other guy to now hate me, and we could have been friends. Me and that dude could have been great friends in a different universe, in a different timeline, but her comment, it prevents us from being friends. How's it going?
Hi there. Hi, good.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good.
I like your stuff.
Thanks. Yeah, I got the adult dresses on the front rack there, and then kids on the back rack. But yeah, it's something to take note of. Just proceed with caution, because it's very much like slavery. You're on a plantation. There's no telling what she's doing when you're not there. There's no telling how certain circumstances are going to change. Other guys she could meet. The economy being affected. There's a lot to take into consideration. Don't get stuck on the plantation, and don't buy into the marriage bullshit scam.